That's very good. You
I
walk.
got your, I
Oh, how's
got,
this?
I got your nuts. Is
Oh my God.
no, but seriously, I've got.
That's awesome.
What if the whole thing was like,
Yeah, yeah.
hey, hey, how are my teeth?
White.
No, this is much better.
Can you hear
No,
me all right? Because I've been tracking a lot, and
you're a little quieter, I think, than I would like you.
yeah, I can fix that.
It's funny.
How's
I
that?
am
Is
re.
that better?
Yeah, yes. I never touch my preamp on the
Yeah,
mic that I use here, and this is also my vocal microphone.
right.
Um, and I'm always like, no, I don't want to touch it. Like it's like
Yeah.
that's my sound, bro. No.
No, I'm like recording, believe it or not, like French horn and all this
Ooh.
stuff. I only have two inputs, so I need three for one French horn, obviously. And
Yeah.
no, but I'm just I need to upgrade the whole studio. I want to get, the universal audio. What are you
Yep.
using for you're not using Scarlett like me still, are you?
Actually, what I have is the Apollo Twin,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
then I run it out into a Focusrite Octa Scarlet Octa Fire or whatever
Yeah, but
Octapre.
why don't you
Um,
just use the Universal Audio Apollo Twin? Why do you use two preamps?
because I the Apollo has two inputs, and so then when I use the Focusrite, it gives me eight more.
So why don't you
So
just use the Focusrite only?
because the Apollo is actually better with latency, and
Ah,
it's just a better unit.
it is better, yeah.
So but yeah, I'm in the same boat where I'm like, man, maybe I need to upgrade because like some things kind of get a little like warbly sometimes where
Yeah,
I'm like,
and it's
oh
just
crap,
like you want
like
to streamline because so I want to get I
am I
gotta
recording?
still
Hope so.
save up. Are you?
Yeah. Jeez.
I want to save up, but I want to get the Apollo with like
The
eight
8 or
8 or 12. Yeah,
16.
16, yeah.
Yeah, me
Probably
too.
16, frankly. Those are what, 5 grand or so. That's
Yeah, it's
eventually doable.
yeah. Yeah, I'm looking at the same thing because I'm like lately I've been sorry listener, we're just diving deep.
Yeah.
We what? I've messed up on a few tracks that I've sent to drummers and bass players
Hmm.
where they get them and something was wrong with the sample rate and like it
Right.
exported wrong, so it was slightly off the grid.
Hmm.
And I'm like, oh, it's just kind of embarrassing. And you're like, damn it, like and it's like I do it a bunch and I always check, and of course on those I didn't check because I'm like, yeah, it's fine, like
Right.
so always check your tracks, people.
So yeah, when you get your new place you're gonna build in the garage, or did you decide? Then you can upgrade then, right? It's a good
Well, yeah,
earnings
so
tool.
on that I
That's off.
yeah, well it's kind of like I called a contractor and I'm really like looking at the space and thinking about what it's going to take to get it
Yeah.
done
Yeah.
financially.
Yeah.
um which I was kind of ready for that, but I'm just kind of scared of like actually changing my house that dramatically.
Yeah.
Um,
It's a
and
commitment.
it's a commitment. And then I'm kind of like, I started just looking at this room that I'm in and trying to figure out easier, more economical ways
Yeah.
of, because really for it is a lot of things. I do want the privacy. I want to be able to drum. I want to be able to scream like as loud as I can, like singing.
Yep.
Not that I always scream, but if I wanted to, like I would love to be able to just like belt super loud whenever I want
Yeah.
and not feel like, someone's going to be like, "Oh my god."
Yeah,
Like
but you know
uh,
what? I this is kind of it does involve any musician who makes their own music or is recording. It changes the way you write and play
yeah,
straight up because
I
you
know.
it
I
starts
know.
being subconscious that you don't want to be as loud.
I
So I
know.
remember like I did this writing of for like a week in a hotel room in Vegas, and I started to write these like Billie Eilish songs
Yeah.
because I was
You're
whispering.
like, I am saving and
Yeah,
saving lonely sheep.
yeah. You're not raging. I wasn't pounding my foot super hard, which is also a habit that I'm not aware of, and I think a lot of musicians do. If you're tracking and
Yeah.
you're in headphones, you don't realize one foot is like
Oh,
beating the
dude,
shit out of the carpet or whatever,
for reals.
and someone can feel it in the next room or under you if you're
Yeah,
in a hotel or two-story house.
it is a real thing. I love writing in hotel rooms,
Yeah,
honestly, because
me
I
too.
just don't even. I'm like, you know what? Like, I'm gonna rock this out. Like, obviously, like singing super loud is a little like
It's just like
maybe.
if it's 2 a.m.,
Yeah. Yes.
you
Yes.
know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. It is. I've written. Well, I have a whole thing when I was on tour. In 2023, I had a thing where I was trying to write a song a day, like
oh yeah.
and it's not like, and like you've said, like writing for the garbage can, right? Like I would just go, you know what, I'm gonna wake up, I'm gonna do a verse, and I'm
Yeah,
gonna do a chorus, and I'm gonna try and get a second verse,
love it.
and that would be great, and if I'm feeling it, I'll just keep going. But and I would just do that every day, and some of them are just total bonehead songs,
Some
but
of them are rock and roll team building guys saying, listening.
yeah,
Yeah.
some of them are like blood on our hands. Yeah,
Yeah.
uh, yeah. But I listened through. It's songs are all about Nervo. Just texted me. Sorry, I don't know if you heard that.
No.
He's like, a giggly just came in for a 3-month-old uh, in Sebastopol at 5 a.m. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's all. That's your strength right there.
Yeah, and
That's
he's
your bread
like,
and butter.
would you like to sing for 7 hours? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll play leads. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
No. Yeah. Yeah. We're trying to work out things right now, trying to get more stuff. But yeah. And actually, that going back to kind of where we were at this week, getting freaking overwhelmed with life and careers. Listener, me and Bray, obviously, we're always working on this, trying to make it better.
Yeah.
And it slightly gets worse. No, just kidding. And yeah, I'm sure it happens to everyone, but like as things like pile up, especially for me, it's throughout the day,
Hmm.
just and it depends on the time. Like I was saying, it's like I have like creatively, especially when I'm in a really creative mode and you're writing, my mind and I feel like even my soul like really goes somewhere else and you
Yeah.
kind of get into songs and stuff. And I
Yeah.
noticed like I even had a couple arguments with my wife, like when I was writing certain songs, I was really like in a really weird
You're all
place.
aggro.
Yeah, and the song, it wasn't really aggro, but it was just kind of like just going somewhere just really emotional and
Yeah.
weird, and it
Hmm.
just messes with my psyche a little bit.
Yeah.
And kind of I'm starting to sound like a crazy person, but anyways,
No, not
I
at
get
all.
really pumped on my music,
Hmm.
and then, seasons kind of time changes, just a couple weeks goes by and those songs kind of they're still there, and maybe I finish them, maybe they're off to mix, maybe I'm still working on them, but now I'm like in a different headspace,
Yeah.
and my whole like energy is different how I feel about stuff, and it's kind of like going from a high to maybe like a low, like I was
Yeah.
saying, like kind of like a manic kind of a
Right.
thing. And so
No,
I
but
kind
it
of
is.
get in these funky moods where I'm like, and all the things that I've been working on to get busy, basically, like I was talking about in January, like, oh, emails and emails and emails, like we got to get things, and now all the things are coming back, like let's do it, let's do this, let's do that, and I've got like Nervo, like let's do a video, and I'm like working with other things and like trying to finish my music, and me and
Yeah.
you had made plans like we got to do all this stuff.
I know.
So anyways, I kind of and I had to apologize to Bray
Mhm.
because I was slightly snappy on a reply, which Bray was doing exactly what we said we were gonna do, which is you're like, dude, let's like do this and this, And I was like, "Wah, wah," like when I say, I'm like,
Bro, I'm doing the best I can. I got a
kind
lot
of.
going on. I'm a songwriter. No, no, hell no, dude.
No, but
No, not at all.
you know how emails like it's unfortunate. Like if we were talking like this, not
Right.
like this.
Yeah. What's up, bro? We're in Hawaii, you mean?
If we
He
were
put his thumb and
yeah,
pinky up,
if we
listener,
were
in
on a
case you're not watching.
payphone,
Yeah.
no, like it would never happen. It always happens through text and email
Yeah.
with me, and I'm way better at it now. I used to be really bad at it, where you just get
Like 2 word answers.
2 words, yeah, and then like you just maybe say a couple words that are like, ooh, that's not good. But it's kind of like because there's no tone, and so it's
Yeah.
just like, you get all stressed out with stuff.
This comedian Arj Barker said there should be a new font called Sarcastica
Yeah,
because you know what I mean? Then you can know somebody's like, great party. You're like, what do they mean
yeah,
by that? Yeah.
yeah, exactly. You read into things.
No, but dude,
Um,
I didn't at all. I know that when you're writing or when we're just always in the zone because anyone that is running their own business, which is basically that is what we're
any
doing, whether we're
all
a
of us.
whether we're a contractor just subbing in bands or in a band or because you yourself are the product that you're trying to keep busy and I guess sell in some ways. So it's just it's raw all the times. When you're writing, you're raw. And
Yeah,
that's what it takes. So I mean, I guess I'm used to myself being socially inept when I'm in the writing zone and I didn't think anything about it. Mostly it's like my wife said to me is so I'll dive into something else which is or kind of what we're saying. You and I just played in Houston with Rock and Roll Team Building. There's like 3 shows within or 4 or whatever within the week
yeah.
and it's just intense. There's a lot going on. So I had or Noel agreed to meet me in Houston on the last day so we could visit out there and kind of blow off steam. Well, the first day or so, I was kind of weird socially because we had an intense week and now we're switching over to hangout and chill
Yeah,
mode. But also, there was a lot of other layers to it, which I wanted to just be kind of vulnerable and share with the listener, which is like, there's so much going on. There's so many people. We had like 12 people or
it's
something.
insane.
So it's,
And finding your place, right?
yeah,
Like
that's it.
where do I sit? And yeah, if you
Yeah,
keep
right
going, I
there.
have a lot to say
No, no,
about
no,
this
man.
too.
It's right there. And it's not so much just directly like beating myself up, but because there's so many people you want to be I want to be a team player. I want to see how I fit into this and I want to also do the best I can and and also not try too hard or say look at me when we're there as a
Yeah,
team. But there's so much talent around. It's kind of a natural I guess there's a level of competition in there or something, just some
yeah.
identity thing. And
And I think I am going to cut you
no,
off now
go.
because for you, like for me, I was well, okay, Clay. Yeah, I guess I wasn't the only guitar player, but my position was kind of like specified, like I'm lead
Yeah.
guitar guy.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But you guys, there's all these lead singers, so you're
Yeah.
kind of literally looking at each other like, yeah, okay, we kind of are like all on the same field.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Yeah,
you're all
yeah.
very different, and that's why you're all there. Like
Yeah.
everybody's bringing something different. But I
Right.
could see how, like, if I was sitting next to like 3 other guitar players that are just doing electric, I would constantly be like, whoa, like why don't I sound like that? Or like what, like, oh crap, like that was better, or oh maybe I'm better at that. You're always
Yeah,
thinking
dude,
like
I
that.
appreciate you saying that because I felt like kind of a tool thinking about any of that stuff because I want to also just have fun and I did
Right.
have a ton of fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, because everything's so rushed and it's a corporate thing, you're not being the same way creative and so forth. And we don't choose the songs we sing necessarily. So we're
Right.
kind of, the role is set for us.
Yep.
So obviously they're looking to me, I think, for a bit more like kind of performance and maybe I won't say comedy, but somewhere in that direction and some of the lower register songs, which I love doing.
Yeah.
But
Well,
what it
you had your lane is, I could hear it as being pretty defined, honestly.
yeah.
Like where you
It,
sit
is that
vocally.
how you would describe it, or am I? What else did you see, or am I missing something
No,
as
I
far as
think
the lane?
musically, you definitely have a lane that was
Hmm.
like right where I couldn't see anybody else singing those songs, but the
Yeah,
songs are like bangers, so it's
yeah,
awesome to have them. Like,
yeah, yeah. I
so
appreciate.
so I
Yeah,
get it.
I see that. I see that. Yeah, but we like a lot of the people we work with. So it's interesting. It's like my favorite singers are not always, what people would consider the most technically amazing singers. I kind of
Right.
gravitate to, I don't know,
It's kind of
emotion based or kind
yeah,
of style
yeah,
and artistry really. So like the
yeah,
songs. Really,
yeah,
I like songwriters often more than people that sing songs other people wrote.
yeah.
And it's not a better or worse, it's just what I am turned
Hmm.
on by. So
Yeah.
then it tends to not be Celine Dion. You know what I mean?
Right. Or just like the acrobatic kind of like
Yeah.
what like playing like when you're playing other people's songs, I think everybody or a lot of musicians and singers, you get caught up in like, oh well, I'm kind of not being an artist, so it's all about like what I can dole out or whatever.
Yeah.
And I honestly I've always I'm in the same boat, honestly. I used to try more at like playing like stuff that's
Impressive stuff.
flashy,
Yeah.
but yeah, like I always have been like, dang, I'm way more interested in like having a sound,
Yeah.
which is really hard when you're like, I want to have a sound, but then it's like, oh, I need to sound like this, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, and so, uh, yeah, it's weird. It's kind of like, yeah, you kind of feel like you have to like describe yourself to people, like when
Yeah.
you're
Well, I
like,
was I
what
was
I'm like,
describing myself to myself after to make sure I knew
right,
because
yeah,
it jumbled me with so many people that I respect. All of them
yeah,
too.
yeah,
So
yeah,
including, you and Clay and Jackie and Kyle, everyone who's there. We have
yeah,
people that are get, American Idols and Voice finalists
yeah,
and everybody. Keith, of course, who we know is better than everyone
yeah,
at everything, which he
yeah.
is. And
You know what?
so you just have all
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
No
and
good.
I think Jackie, she says this all the time, and I think it's really true. She's always like at gigs, and especially like this last one, because there's so many of us. She's like, I'm not playing really for the audience. I'm playing for you guys.
Yeah.
She wants, and I'm like, that's me too. Like, because all of us are listening. Like, we're
Yeah.
like, and so yeah, like I'll be like, oh, I know, like maybe Bray will like this little lick, or
Right.
like I'll look
Right.
back at like Kyle, oh, he's gonna like this thing, like, and so I
Yeah.
think about that more than I'm like looking out in the audience at these people that obviously that's important,
Yeah.
but really I'm like, I know my band is probably listen when I play a solo, it's like they're probably gonna listen.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Um, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, it's that. And then the other thing is, I think it's true for guitar players too well, I'm sure it is, when there's more than one guitar player or more than one singer on a gig, especially if there's three or more, you really have to listen to what each other's doing and sometimes lay out because two people are doing the same thing, which never
yeah,
sounds good.
I
Never.
know,
And with singers, and everyone had a mic. So there's like
yeah,
sometimes
except me.
except you.
I
That's
know,
true.
and I
Even the drummer had one and you didn't. And
every
you
single
sang.
person, yeah, and I'm kind of like I part of me is like I should probably be singing because I can't sing, but
Yeah.
at the same time I'm like I might want to hold on to this as long as I can because I'm pretty sure I'm getting paid the same.
Yeah. Right. I know. I thought the
So like
same thing.
so I should chill back. Like I should be like, no, I don't know how to sing.
Or you could be like
Why is my voice
Stefano.
like that?
You could be like Stefano and just leave the stage when you're not
Dude,
singing.
I know,
Ah!
dude. I know.
Stefano, one of the best singers I've sat and kicked it with and played
Yeah,
with, was part of my kind of mini freak out in my mind just because the damn guy is so good.
yeah,
And
he's so
you
good.
could tell by every other musician's reaction to him after each song, they're like, woo, woo. And then
Yeah.
you go like, well, how come when I finish a song, they go,
Oh,
okay,
dude.
next song is, so,
Oh
but
man.
I do want to be totally like this with our listener, just to say everybody goes through at all levels. Just kind of re-asking yourself, what do I do this for? You know,
Yes.
like why did I start doing music? Because I love it, because it's fun, because I want to share a message and communicate something from the heart. All
Yep.
those real sound, it's corny to say them, but real reasons we do them. And then we need to remind ourselves those things sometimes. So because we want to be the best,
Right.
that makes me hard on myself, and so that's fine. But there's got to be the balance of
Yeah.
look at kind of your progress, or sort of the non competitive side of it. That's
Right.
the joy, because that's what people feel and respond to, you know.
Yep.
And also, man, there's nothing worse than a hater, which I never have been or want to be.
Yeah.
So you don't want to be like, cool, man. You
I
know,
know.
I say to him, dude,
Right.
you are amazing, brother.
Right. Yeah. But yeah,
You know,
dude, I'm constantly, constantly with like imposter syndrome, where you're
see, that
like,
surprises me, but it's
uh,
funny how everyone has
I
it at
think
times.
everyone just has it, and it's just constantly, and on the surface, you just like have to be like,
Yep.
yeah, it doesn't matter. But then, you go away by yourself and you're just like, that there's all these players out there, and you're just like, why am, what,
And my wife's like, we're on vacation, asshole. Like, this is about us. Now you're still, because I'm like, it's Stefano. He's really good. And
oh, dude,
Jeff was good. I stood in front of Jeff the whole time. That was weird,
it's
which I
like,
did.
it's just such a, I think we are just more sensitive,
Yeah.
people, and we are out there and we're exposed way
Yeah.
more than I think normal people. And not to say we're not, I guess it's not normal to be like, I feel like you have a job where you're literally going out in front of a crowd of people and they're
Yeah.
judging you. It's like, do I like
Yeah.
it? Do I not like it? And then they
Yeah.
could talk about it. They could take pictures. They could say things
Yeah.
like,
Which we want. That's why we do it
which
too.
we want. Yeah.
We're setting ourselves up for
Yeah.
it.
But yeah, I
So,
feel you, dude. Anytime if someone, like if I say there's two guitar players and if they do a solo, and yeah, if it's like woo, and
yeah. Yeah.
then
Yeah.
you're just like, you just kind of melt. You're like, God, I want it to sound good. I'm in the same band, but damn, like I don't know if I could do that, or
Yeah.
whatever. Like,
But
uh
it's cool too, because I used to, dude, literally, I'm going to compare this to rap battles, because it's similar. But sometimes you would see someone, like really fast.
yeah,
And this, I like this comparison, because someone might go crazy when Snoop walks up and just goes, yeah. And
right.
like really slow, and
Yeah.
it's a tone thing,
It's a
and
tone.
it's a
Yep.
mood thing, and it's like
Yep.
one bite of the best meal, instead of like munching down a huge hamburger.
Absolutely.
And
And I really get inspired when I hear musicians, artists, when I you get to remember that when you hear some, like for me as a guitar player or a singer guitar player, like when they just play one chord and you
yeah,
go, that's that person.
yeah,
And it's like,
yeah,
oh, that's like, I'm like, I can identify with that way more than like someone that gets the perfect tone for like some other song and then nails it perfectly. As much as I try and do that, I feel like that's never been me. Like I'm way more like, I want to play one chord with a certain tone and sing over it, and someone goes, that's that person.
yeah,
Even though like obviously my career has been playing other music, but I identify more with that. Like,
yeah,
and that's why I write, even though it's not like something that makes a living for me. It
yeah,
makes me sane.
yeah.
Like where I go,
But it informs your playing, though.
it just gives you identity. I guess like this whole
Yeah,
like thing of like,
this is
like
what we're talking about: identity, people.
yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
and this for me, I don't know if I've ever talked about this. I think I probably have, but it really hit me hard in 2017, the first time I auditioned for Enrique,
yeah.
and that was the first big thing. I mean, Tainted
Would
Love's
you would
big.
you share about that, because I don't think you have before,
Okay,
and I
so
really think it's one of the most fucking inspiring stories ever
yeah.
that I know of, dude.
Oh, cool.
I really
Well,
do.
so so 2017, I let's see. It's kind of weird, like, because that year I really started singing more. Someone
Hmm.
asked me if I sang, and I just was like, sure. And so I started singing with
Yeah.
Lucky Devil's band.
Yeah.
You've heard of this, and it's kind
Oh
of
yeah.
like maybe the arch nemesis of
Nah.
the
Nah.
some of our bands, but whatever. They do their own thing. So I was out there, and I'm like, dude, I can do this, and I was just singing whatever R&B songs,
Hmm.
and nobody was running away, and I was like, well, that's cool. So my
That's how we judge ourselves.
yeah. So my confidence was building,
Hmm.
and throughout that summer, I was just kind of like I was reminded of like, man, I wanted to play with like an artist. Like,
Yeah.
and I started thinking about it seriously. And I had no connections to anything
Hmm.
that I knew of. I mean, I knew Eddie, obviously, and I knew he was there, but I hadn't thought about it in years. Like, and, and when I kind of started out
So,
as a,
so listener, I want to keep this so they know what's going on in case they don't know us personally. Eddie Kaipo is
yeah,
the monitor, sound
he
engineer for
to
Enrique
the
and Gwen.
stars basically.
Yeah, just to the start.
He
Not
works
only
with a
them.
lot of people,
Not only them.
and but doing what we do, we've made a career out of playing music, and honestly that was my first goal
Yeah.
in being a professional. I was like, I've always been like, dude, I just want to make money playing guitar so that
Yeah.
I could play more guitar. That's
Yeah.
only reason I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
But there was also this thing like, well, I would love to play with artists and stuff. So anyways,
Yeah.
I started thinking about it throughout the summer, and I'm like, well, you know what? Like, if I'm going to do that, I need to actually think like I'm someone that would play with these artists.
Hell yeah.
Like I need to dress like that.
Yep.
Like if someone
Yep.
called me today, like what would I wear?
Yeah.
Like how would I show
Absolutely.
up? And so
Uh-huh.
I started thinking about it. It's so weird. Like, and I started, yeah, okay, I guess this is my vibe, but I wasn't quite there yet, honestly. Like, but I was thinking about it.
What wasn't there yet?
Just my whole like the identity thing. Like, who
Hmm.
am I as a guitar player? Right? Like,
Hmm. Hmm.
who am I? I had been
Yeah.
doing like fusion stuff. I kind of like was like, I want to be a jazz guy, but I knew that wasn't quite me, right?
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
I wanted it to be, but I didn't sound right. It wasn't fitting in. And I was doing my own solo things that were cool and it was fun, but I was really trying to form something that just wasn't naturally happening, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but the music, it's still good, and everybody that
Yeah.
played
You
with
were
me was awesome.
stretching though too,
I was stretching, yeah, and
Hmm.
I was trying to do things, but so I hadn't quite figured it out like what I was yet. And so, anyways, an opportunity came through, after that summer of me thinking about it, and Eddie was like, "Hey, man, Enrique's looking for a guitar player. Are you interested?" And at that moment, I was actually so confident with where I was at, like just
Yeah.
as a player. I was like, in my head, I was like, I don't even care if I get this. Like, I was just kind of like, yeah, like I think I could do it, and
Hmm.
sure. And Eddie was like, he's very like he wants to make sure you're like putting your best foot forward
Oh
on stuff,
yeah,
right?
because he's a
And so,
pro.
yeah, he's a pro, and he wants it to be perfect and the best it
Hmm.
can be. And he's like, dude, okay, I want to help you with the video and make sure it's because they just wanted me to send a video,
Oh, okay.
and he's like, I want to help you with it and make sure it's all tight and everything. And I was like, oh, I already made it, I already sent it.
Oh,
And
was he a little pissed?
he's like, okay. He just
Yeah.
was like, okay.
Yeah.
And it turns out, I remember I was at the gym at 24 Hour, and I was just like, I just was really confident at the time. It's so strange. Um, and the MD called me and he goes, yeah, you got the gig. And I was like, whoa. And I had to like get off the treadmill, and I was like,
Oh yeah.
okay. And he's like, talking about the business part of it and
Right.
blah, blah, blah. And this was like happening fast. He's like, so you're going to go to LA for a couple of days, and then we're going to play in Vegas. And I
Hmm.
was like, whoa, this is like happening, and like you tell my wife and have to tell Tainted Love, like, oh, I can't do these shows because I'm like going on tour, man. They had a
Yeah.
big tour happening. And I
Yeah.
was like, whoa, this is crazy. And then like my confidence kind of started to dwindle a little bit because I was kind of like this whole like, whoa, like, wait a minute, like, who am I? Like, what do I wear? Like, what do I do? And I
Yeah.
remember talking to the MD, and he's like, I was like, so what do you guys like wear? And he's like, oh, I don't know. He's like, that's kind of like why we hire you, like that's your thing. Like you just do your
Yeah.
thing. And
Yeah.
I started getting in my head, like, what is my thing? Like because it's
So
like,
never
whoa,
wear my underwear, right? Because
yeah,
that's
yeah. What do I dress exactly like Enrique?
yeah,
So it was really in my head. I was like, whoa, like because I've been in bands where it's kind of like you see a template and you're like, oh yeah, I'll just like wear that. I'm in an '80s
totally.
band. Boom, I'm in it. But it was exactly the same. I could have looked on YouTube and been like, oh yeah, it's easy. But it was really in my head.
Yeah, I get it.
So I played the first show in Vegas. Musically, I nailed it. Like,
Hmm.
and the MD and the whole band was like, dude, you nailed that so perfectly. But I knew I was like visually awkward. I was like kind of discombobulated on the way I looked, and like it wasn't
Did
horrible,
you
but
wear plaid? Was that your problem?
yeah, no, no. But it wasn't dialed, and my confidence wasn't dialed.
Hmm. Yeah,
And
that's
so
probably the biggest one right there.
yeah, and so the musically I was perfect. But the second night, everyone's like woo woo, they're all pumped, but I could tell the vibe was off. Something
Uh-huh.
was off.
Yeah.
And I was like, something feels weird. Like, and we played the show and it was good. I could just tell by certain people in the camp. I was like, something's weird. And I was asking, I was like, did someone say something? And they're like, no, you're good, dude. Like, you're good.
Who did you ask, Eddie?
I asked Eddie, and Eddie's like, no, you're solid. Like, he's like, there's no way, you got it.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And so I cleared my calendar for the whole fall. Like, and this is September, dude. Like that's
Ew.
huge. And
Ew.
so, and yeah, this is 2017. Clear the calendar. Also, Amy's pregnant with Slater.
Wow.
So there's a lot going on.
Hell yeah.
Um, clear the calendar. Go home. I go straight to a baby shower actually for Amy.
Yeah.
And so everyone's like, wow, it's like all like, oh my gosh, you're doing the thing. And I'm like, yeah, it's crazy, right? And I'm still in my head, like, is this real? Like, is this really gonna happen? I have these like negative thoughts. Like, I just feel like it might not. And everyone's like, no, dude. I even call the MD and I'm like, I'm good, right? Like, I'm doing this. He's like, dude, it's awesome. You're set. I'm like,
In, baby. Yeah.
I was like, perfect. And so a week goes by and the tour is happening like in a week. And I'm like waiting on my flights. And
Yeah.
I haven't got my flight yet. Like, what's going on? Like, we're starting in DC. And I'm like, flight, oh yeah, it's coming. Okay. And I'm just waiting and I'm getting nervous and I'm like, okay, like anything, nothing. All right, whatever. And so it's like getting very close. And I'm like, you know what? Let's go out to the city, me and Amy. Like, we'll just go out to lunch
Yeah.
and like hang out a little bit because this might be our last like little
Yeah.
weekend to hang. So
Yeah.
we go out, we're hanging, having a good day, and I get a phone call from the MD. he
Mhm.
goes, he goes, "Bro," I could tell in his voice. I was like, I already know it's coming.
Yeah.
And he goes, dude, he's like, I don't even know what to say. He's like, I hate this part of my job. He's like, but Enrique, something happened and someone got in his ear and they decided to go with someone else for the tour. And I was just like, I remember we were in All
That is
Saints
straight crushing. Dude.
crushing. And I was like buying clothes for the tour,
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. And I was like, I need to talk about my schedule though, because I cleared my calendar. Like that's a big deal. Like, and you guys like assured me. I was like, someone needs to like take care of that. Like, and he's like, yeah, we'll work it out. I was like, oh my god. And so I was just like, oh my god,
That is
what happened?
devastating.
It was devastating. And so,
And then you got to tell Amy.
and then I got to tell Amy, and then it's just, you're just all my confident. You go, it's kind of like a version of like what I was saying, like these highs and lows. Like you like,
Yeah.
it's kind of like, wow, I've reached that thing I was going, and then it's like, oh, you you weren't quite, you're not quite ready for that, like.
But
And I
this
was
is
just,
only the middle of the story, the movie.
yeah, it's in the middle. So I'll try and speed up. Sorry.
No, not that. I just want to
So
help the listener along.
yeah, so Amy, bless her for being so cool, she could tell that I was like really going through something. And
Yeah.
she's like, you know what, we're gonna go to Disneyland, like with
Mhm.
Jason, our oldest kid, and we're gonna bounce for like 5 days and you can just chill for a
Yeah.
minute. And
Yeah.
I was like, yes. And
That's awesome.
it started as this
I
whole
thought she's like, you're coming and nothing will make you feel better than Goofy.
yeah, you need to get a new job.
Ride the log ride.
Yeah.
Your life will
So
change.
yeah, maybe you could play at the Disney band, which is awesome actually.
Yeah, hey, wait.
So anyways, my whole plan after this was just like, holy crap! Like I thought I was on this like I was gonna like be like this. I thought I was gonna be like the session guy. Like that's what I was trying to do, and I was like, I'm still gonna do it. And I was like, okay, when she leaves, I'm gonna make a new like demo for myself, which sounds weird to me now. Like I don't even demo. I don't know.
No?
Just me playing guitar.
Yeah.
And I started playing these things, and it goes back to the same thing. Like I couldn't make just like a guitar-y thing. Like it just sounded like songs to me. And I was like, I need to just sing on this shit. And so I just started writing songs, and I was like, dang, I really like this. And so I wrote like 6 songs that turned out to be my first like Petrito
In those
EP
5 days?
in those 5 days.
Damn.
I just basically just played all night. I was just recording,
And
I
that's the
recorded.
beauty of a studio that's soundproof.
Yeah,
Because, if you live with someone, go on.
yeah, and the beauty of just everyone being gone too.
That's what I'm saying. If it's soundproof, yeah, that
Yeah,
too. Yeah.
because it wasn't soundproofed.
No, but it might as well be if no one's there. It's like
True
a
that.
forest.
Yeah,
But yeah.
but so I did that, and that just like saved my life. Honestly.
And then you
'Cause
also made a video or not?
I was just doing my own like DIY videos of just those songs,
Yeah.
and it wasn't anything.
But more
that,
like music video than
it was just music
demo.
videos of
Yeah.
my little demos.
Yeah.
And it just made me feel good. And people were like, dude, this is tight, And
Yeah.
I was like, yeah. I was like, you know what? That's when I was kind of like, this is kind of like really, no matter what, I can lose every gig that I've ever tried out for. This is kind of where I started though. Like
Yeah.
just being kind of a rock guy. I just
Mhm.
want to write rock songs.
Yeah.
That was my whole plan when I started getting good at guitar. I was like, I just want to write these songs.
Yeah.
And if I'm only good at that, that's all that matters. But then obviously being like, oh no, I need to be good
Money.
at this so that I can make money. But it just made me feel sane. I was
Yeah.
like, okay, no matter what, this is what I like. And to
Yeah.
me, this is cooler than anything else.
And we're back
So-
to an identity thing too.
The identity. And so I felt like it made me just go like, it doesn't matter. None of this matters. But anyways, I kept at it with the Enrique camp and was like, because everyone was like, dude, that was messed up. And Enrique even called me and he goes, bro, I'm sorry. He's like, just hang in there. And he even paid me for that time that
The fall.
that I for the fall. He paid. It wasn't the whole thing, but
Yeah.
it was cool. Like I was
Yeah.
like, wow, thanks, man. Like,
Yeah. I'm glad you said something because I think that took
Oh.
balls and not a lot of people would. I might have
Yeah.
just went, okay, bye.
yeah. No,
but
I
saying
was
like, hey, we need to address this. Yeah.
I would have been hosed, man, honestly,
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
to
Well,
click,
survival alone made you have to say it. So that's good
totally.
though.
And I think he respected that.
Hmm.
And so I just stayed. I stayed on him. I was kind of like, I was definitely thinking
What does that
about.
mean, staying on them?
So and this is something that I was talking to Kyle about. This, it's like you kind of design certain things, and I don't want to sound like kind of a psychopath, but it's like, oh, like I know that this person has a lot of pull in that camp, so I wouldn't be like, hey, I'm still available to play guitar. I wouldn't do that, but I would say like, hey man, like I'm doing a song, like you want to like play on it, like every now and then, or like just like pop in and be like, hey dude, like I was thinking about this, like try and be like, we were
With
talking
a band member or with Eddie or
with
what?
a band member,
Yeah.
with the MD,
Yeah.
and like stuff that like just trying to keep yourself at the top of the
Dude,
list
that's
of his
called visualizing and making something happen.
Yeah.
And manifesting.
manifesting. Yeah, just trying to be like where you're not forgotten. Where I was
Yeah.
like, I'm still here. Like
Yeah.
and remember, like we hung out. So, anyways, it took until about. Well, I know exactly when it was. I didn't play with them again until the summer.
But you
They've-
also went on is this part of it? Some kind of physical journey too.
Dude, yeah, I got totally ripped in that
Okay.
time because
So that's an important piece too.
and this was the time, yeah, when I said how me and Amy, we got super ripped,
Yeah.
and we were both miserable, but but we were just both very like, yeah,
Driven.
determined.
Yeah.
And dude, yeah, I was like, there was nothing that was gonna stand in the way of like,
See, that's the key right there. You
yeah,
you knew what you wanted, so every single thing that had to do with that, which is working on your own identity, staying in touch and keeping that connection alive,
yeah,
getting yourself in top shape. I mean, maybe mentally it didn't come along with it as much,
yeah,
but in a lot of ways it did because
yeah,
confidence and focus. But just being physically the best you can be is
yeah,
gonna affect the rest around it. Maybe you still bought the clothes at All Saints or whatever anyway,
yeah,
so knowing you're gonna go after your goal. But
yeah.
you know
It's just trying to check all the boxes that,
yeah,
even though looking back I'm like, oh, there are easier ways to check those boxes, but I just didn't want to leave any
that's
unchecked,
right, that's
so
right.
I was like, I was trying to cover everything. And so it took until the summer, and they finally called me and they're like, dude, like, do you want to sub? And I was like, hell yeah. And it was a big one. It was like Israel. We played this thing
Good
in Tel
Lord.
Aviv that was like, it was like 60,000 people.
Yeah.
Um, and it was just so great because I got to come back in, and everyone's like,
And how
dude,
are you feeling at that show? Like, I'm here, I'm supposed to be here, or were you like, now I gotta prove so I don't fuck it up again? Or
I was pretty nervous
yeah,
because I was like, this was like, yeah, coming back. I feel like I had something to prove,
right,
like,
right.
because, I'm the guy that freaking basically got it and then got kicked to the curb. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so I was pretty nervous. And that first show, I remember I was like, when we started and seeing all those people, my heart was like beating out of my
Love it.
chest.
Love it.
Um, and so I got through all that. And, there were some nerves throughout the whole thing, but I played good. And I think the vibe was good.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was just like, oh no, Enrique really likes you and this and that. And it took another year of just the same game, like, oh, can you
Whoa.
sub? And then it was finally like, they finally called me and they go, hey man, do you want the gig? Like, and I was like, whoa, yes. But it's like, just imagine
So
like
it took like a total of about a year and a half.
a year and a half of seriously trying to grind on like one thing, because it was just always on my mind. Where you're like, you open your email and you're like, oh, please be an email from this one
See,
person
that's
saying,
why this is an inspiring story because you're talking about your, little bits of self-doubt along the way, but that you are trying to do every single thing you can think of to make it happen,
yeah,
and you fucking did.
yeah, thanks, man. It was a
Yeah.
big thing. And it's like, yeah, I guess being focused and manifesting. And this is something that's crazy. Like, because I kind of did it, like, and I think it is just like really being focused on one thing, and seeing those little cracks where you're like, that's the spot where I can get in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Um,
And we know
one
what
of
they are. That's the
Yeah,
thing. The thing that you're like fighting it, the last ones, and they're the hardest ones to change, are
yeah,
the most important.
yeah.
Those are what make it happen.
Those are what make it happen. Yeah,
Mhm.
and I felt the same way about Tainted Love, honestly, when I got that gig. Because I was looking for a band that was just like working, and I had the same kind of like confidence when I did that audition. I was just like, that felt really good, you know.
Yeah.
Um, but
But
yeah,
let me jump in here because there is zero, 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 zero bitterness, but I want to share because it's a little bit similar journey. And I kind of went through a period, that same probably time period of a year or so, year and a half maybe, of working with them where I thought that I was going to be in Tainted Love, where it was the
right,
same. I don't want to say mixed messages, but kind of
yeah,
you're keeping that connection alive. And I had that goal. And a little bit backwards because I didn't find out I didn't get it until the end of the year and a half.
yeah.
So I got the call one day, just that call, and we were um, actually I got the call while we were in Hawaii.
Oh,
So I didn't call back till we got back because I
you're
think I
just
had
like,
like two
yep,
days. But Alex is cool. He was kind of like,
yeah,
"Hey, the guy, the gentleman running Tainted Love for the listener." But so I got back, and they just went a different direction. And now though, years later, I still play with Tainted Love
Yeah.
occasionally, right? And any of their projects, Mustache Harbor, including Tomorrow.
Nice.
But and that's ultimately what the best thing that could have happened,
Right.
because I love to be a team player, but I also gave up everything at that time of my own to
Mm-hmm.
do that, and that
Yeah.
really ultimately I don't think would make me happy.
Yeah.
And and so to me, the matter of manifesting has all these other avenues which have been happening, because for me, being a performer was always about that, being a performer. It
Yeah.
was like starting by doing impressions of family members and at parties, and like kind of getting up on the table and having, so it really was like comedy to start, and then dancing, like seeing Michael Jackson and just going,
Yeah.
oh, how can I make my own version of that? And I don't want to blab on too much about it, but it's just a little bit, it's just to show there's different avenues of the same goal, to find your identity. So
Yeah.
like I would see how Tainted Love, for example, would have all these like international shows and everything happening. I'm like, how in the hell do you create that? I
Right.
just didn't. I knew that I had already toured with my. Actually, that was weird for me to ask, because I had already toured with my original band in Europe
Yep.
5, 6 times. But making a project that was like making money and kind of successful in that way was a new goal. And then so years later, with just put dedicating my whole life to this, we have like New Moon on Monday playing in Canada, and
Yep.
all this stuff that Neon's been able to do.
And all
And
these
I
things that you have created. That's the cool thing, right? Like
yeah,
you're like, I mean, that's got to feel good where you look at it and you go, dude, I like it started as in your mind
yeah,
and now here it is. And you're like, I
yeah,
have these whole bands, these whole businesses
yeah,
that where you're making people's living because you were like, I want to do this. That's
yeah,
pretty rad,
dude, it's so
you know?
something that gives you confidence to
Yeah.
keep going and create more. Like do the Dumb and Dumber like tour in Vegas and all that stuff, which is still going.
Yeah.
Um, and dude, it's just so that then it expands to what the next things that you want to do
Yeah.
from there, right?
Yeah.
Because I know you still have more goals based on where you are now
Yeah. Well,
that
it's
you
kind of
want to look
like,
back on.
yeah, you experience all these things and then you're kind of like, yeah, there's always something. Is there always something? I don't
I
know.
think so. I
Um,
mean, for
I
driven
hope,
people.
I guess I kind of hope so because that keeps you interested.
Well, there's also stuff that keeps you grounded. Okay, so here's a funny one. So this Houston thing we just did, all right. After this show, everywhere we walk, generally, someone, because basically the company took over the hotel, which happens, right?
Yeah.
So when you walk around, a lot of times, man, most of the times, if you get in an elevator or go in like the little shop, someone goes, "Oh my gosh, you guys are great. That's amazing." And they'll say something, "Thank you, thank you." Oh, and then you start going, "Ah, thank you." Like, "Oh, yeah, yeah, it's cool."
Oh, yeah,
We have
it's
fun.
me. You're like, wait, it's me. It's me. I
Yeah,
know it's hard to
yeah,
believe.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Is that you? Are you the guy? Ah, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, don't worry about it. All
Yeah.
this shit.
Yeah.
And then so one
I'm
guy,
always here as
yeah.
myself, you know?
So I, but then Noelle meets me, my wife, on the last night there, stays that night. We have breakfast or lunch or whatever the next day. I'm walking down the hall with carrying a leftovers to go box, right? We're walking down this big long hall. This guy walks toward me and he goes, "Thank you." And I was like, "Ah, no problem, man. Yeah, we had fun." And then he went to reach for my food and he goes, "No, thank you." He
Uber
just
guy.
was trying to, he only meant, "I'm going to thank you." He, like being
Yeah.
sarcastic, like, "Thank you for bringing me
Oh,
food." He
yeah.
did not recognize me, had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
And so
That's
Noel
it.
saw me act like a sheepish
Uh-huh.
butthole, like
Yeah.
big shot, like, "Ah, no
Yeah.
problem, man."
Or those are amazing. How about this one? because this has happened to me and you just feel like such a douche, is when, you're kind of feeling yourself a little bit because maybe you played a show
Yeah.
and you're like hanging with people. And if someone goes, hey, can we get a picture? And you go, yeah, sure. And you like do a pose.
You
And
pose.
they're like, no, like, can
Can
you
you
take
take
a
one? Yeah.
picture of
Yeah.
it?
Oh, that's
And they're just
amazing.
like, what is wrong with
Yeah,
you?
that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. Do you think that that's a better angle, the way you're leaning to take a picture of us? Why are
they
you doing
just you just automatically think they want a picture of you.
that? But dude, it is funny. I mean, when we played with you opening for Gwen, when we opened for you
Yeah,
playing with Gwen, why was that so
yeah,
hard to say?
yeah,
That was another manifest for me personally, and it had
yeah,
to be for you on 10 other levels above that.
yeah.
But us being a part of that was like a big deal for us, an honor, and kind of,
Dude, that
I
was
felt
massive.
proud. Dude, I felt proud to take our band along for that. And but the thing I was going to say was, it reminded me when we're talking about this Houston thing, because I mean, this has nothing to do with Drive. It's just a goofy thing that happened. But so while hung out in Houston, we went to a Rockets game, Houston Rockets
Oh,
NBA game,
cool.
which was like best part of the whole
That's
trip,
so cool.
probably. But I'm just grateful because I know she doesn't love basketball, but just
Hmm.
going to the games is kind of a different
Probably
experience.
fun, right?
Yeah, we got really good seats, and we're waiting in line. They shut down the whole street. That's the way they do it, and you get in line in the middle of the road, which is weird. There's no reason for that,
Whoa.
really. So it's this long line down the middle of a street to get in, but there's also a ton of other things going on at the same time right in downtown. So I don't even know what they all were. One was a rodeo. So
Nice.
there's
Yeah, there's a
lots of
big rodeo happening. It's like two
huge
weeks long.
rodeo that same weekend, and there's lines doing that to get into that, and so forth, right in the same area. But also there's 100 cheerleaders behind us in line. Okay, just practicing their routines and making
Yeah.
a bunch of noise, which is great, fine. So I hear a father of one of the cheerleaders go up and be like, "We're supposed to get in there on a different entrance," and all this, like he was actually freaking out like
Yeah.
Hub.
Y-
Like it reminded me of my dad because
Stressed.
he's like, yeah, he's just like yelling at
Yeah.
any like dummy who is standing at the line, like a person working there that has nut. They're like, sir, I don't know.
Yeah. He's got his map quest printed out. He's like,
Totally.
we just drove 12 hours from
Yeah, yeah. You see this
Albuquerque.
pencil in my hand that I fixed the directions with? I'm gonna stab you in the neck with it
Yeah.
if you don't let us
Yeah.
in.
Eugene said I could enter right here. You know Eugene, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Exactly. They're like, I am wearing jeans. They totally don't understand. Yeah. So, and they really are blank faced, and they're really just going to go boop,
Yeah.
and scan your thing. So he's freaking out, but I'm seeing that, okay, they're going to be performing. It's a lot of mayhem. Then this other woman walks up by herself, kind of lost, like, and so let me back up. There's a woman in front of us who's by herself. She looks like she's about 18 to 21, young lady. And she's dancing by herself to the commercials that are on the loudspeaker coming through. You know,
Yeah.
Colgate is the only one, or
Yeah.
whatever, like totally ridiculous shit. And she's seriously like moving her hand like Mariah Carey and singing along with it. I think some of them were maybe
Dude,
pop songs.
it's like Hot Pockets.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I love the part where it says pockets.
Yeah.
You know, what about the part hot? No,
Yeah.
so they're like, so she's just dancing, and the lady kind of interrupts her reverie and goes like, "Excuse me," and this was a very Houston experience. I thought the lady's like, "Excuse me, what y'all waiting in line for here? What is this line for?" And then the person who answered, the lady who was dancing, goes, to get in.
To get in.
Yeah, that was. I could not stop laughing about that, and Noel didn't fully understand why. I'm like, dude, every line is to get in.
To
That
get
means
in. Yeah.
nothing. That was not to get in. The lady's like, she just shuffled away, confused,
Yeah.
like, I don't even know how to follow up with this.
Yeah. To
It's
get
like,
in.
dude, what are you waiting in line for?
Yeah.
I mean, where to get into what,
Yeah. Yeah.
Because like I said, we're in the middle of the road. There's other lines with rodeos, and she just wanted
To
to be in
get
the right
in.
to get in. Oh
That's
my God. So then
amazing.
I kept saying that for the next five
To get
days.
in.
Yeah, to get in. What are you doing? To get in. I'm just trying to get in.
You know,
You know?
that doesn't matter where in is.
Yeah, it
Oh
doesn't.
my gosh. That's amazing. That was such a good trip. Uh yeah, it was exciting. It was all the feelings, like
Did you ever go off on your own and kind of check out Houston? I think you went to a music store or you went to get some clothes.
I
You
didn't
got
do
a
any of
shirt.
that. I
You got a
just taught.
shirt.
No, I didn't.
Oh,
I
was that
talked
somebody else's?
I taught no, I ended up just wearing a long sleeve gym shirt.
Wait,
Uh
wait. No, no, but the country shirt you got.
no, I brought that. I did break that. I thought I
Oh.
was gonna need to go get a coat. And so I planned on
Uh,
doing it, but then they told me, "Oh, you don't need to," because there was possibly an issue with tattoos, and I have tattoos.
yeah.
But then Keith has tattoos. I think when they realized Keith has tattoos, they're like, "Oh,
That changed the rules.
we're gonna
That
be
changed it.
fine." Dude, Keith is such a legend. Like,
Oh yeah.
it's so crazy being around him. His energy is so high, you
Yeah.
know. But like, it's kind of like when you get away from it, like. I think about him like now that I'm here, I'm like, dude, that fool's inspiring, man.
Yeah, he
Like,
is.
I'm like, he's just so on it. Like, I wish I
Yeah.
could have a piece of that, and just carry it with me.
I mean, he has that manifesting thing too, and I feel like he has I will die before I lose mentality.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing. It's
Yeah.
like he's so committed to being the best he can be that if, it's like he never slacks.
Right. There's unwavering. And see, I think that's where my yin and yang, I think, is because I get all these like I was saying, like these very like ambitious goals,
Yeah.
but then I will go the complete opposite. And lately I've kind of just been like, what is a goal? Like kind of like this whole idea of like maybe I should just have zero goals. Maybe it should
But see,
make
dude,
because
I love that about
you
you
know
because it makes you a way more layered person. And I
yeah,
think it's kind of like, frankly, it's something we talked about. And one of the ways we talk about it is to do with like working out versus something you want to eat maybe or drinking or something like that where you want to because like you said when you and your wife like focused entirely on getting ripped which you did you didn't have the balance in there so
yeah,
you felt a little bit miserable
right.
so it's sort of like when you talk to someone who's 99 years old on their deathbed let's say you go what do you remember what's your message and they're like don't sweat the small stuff and like have more fun
Yeah,
laugh more and like shit
yeah.
like that so it's like you kind of don't want to go 100 years of not
Grinding.
and I'm not saying that Keith doesn't have fun because he sure as hell does I'm
Yeah.
just saying for anyone in general just the balance thing he's like no I don't no but just balance
Gypsies.
it
We don't have to say it.
yeah yeah yeah
That's inside.
yeah yeah
Woo!
oh dude
But
speaking of like weird
yeah.
projects we're just all trying to do at once and it gets overwhelming I now have a Bowie duo with Wendy.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, it was like we had this talk over, drinks one night, basically, where we both, she was in a Bowie tribute in Australia, and
Oh wow.
Bowie's my spirit animal, my
Yeah.
godfather, basically. So I'm like, oh, we should do a Bowie tribute where it's just you and I, and we're standing sort of back to back at an angle. I'll have a guitar, you have keyboards, and we just both are dressed like Bowie, and then we'll just harmonize everything and just be this weird Bowie twins thing. And I'm
That's
like, that's what
amazing.
we're gonna do. And she's like, ah, yeah, I'm into that. Let's go. And so all of a sudden it's happening. So now we have to
Yes.
film it and do this thing, and we're like going through songs, and that's how quick something can happen.
Yeah.
And there's joy in it too.
Yeah.
And it's just like weird like that. And
Yeah.
but also I
And
have no time for this.
right. But you know what's crazy? And see, this is the thing why it's so important to sometimes just jump off and do things
Yeah.
and not get caught up. Because you never know. You'll look back and be like, damn, I'm so glad I just decided to do that one thing. And now look
Yeah.
what it is. You know,
Yeah.
that's how it is for me for solo playing. I
Yeah.
was just kind of like, maybe I should just like play a solo thing. And like,
Yeah.
I did it. And now I'm like, dude, this is a big part of my career.
Income and
Like,
shit. Yeah.
yeah, it's
Dude, same
huge.
here.
And I'm like, I'm glad I just kind of said like yes that one time, you
Well,
know?
mine was
Uh,
one of the reasons I started it, which I just want to give a shout out, was seeing Clay
yeah,
Bell.
Clay. Oh, hey, hold on. Check
Yeah.
this out. Check this out.
We got Jeff and Bray coming at you soon, so sit back and enjoy the green room. Ha 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 ha.
That's not all.
My name is Clay, and I'm here to say I play the guitar every day. Ha ha ha.
Oh my God. Now we have to tell the whole story. So
Have we-
we're
We didn't tell this one yet, have we?
no. So
Right.
there's another Houston thing. We're sitting. No, we didn't tell it at Houston. I don't think we might have said he's rapped. I don't remember, but
Yeah,
if we did, this is awful. But I don't think we did. Did we?
we might have, but it's worth. Okay,
it's
let's just
so
let me
good.
hear the first one again.
We got
Here.
Jeff and Bray coming at you soon, so sit back and enjoy the green room. Ha 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 ha.
I like
And the-
because it can end on any beat and just make it okay. Yeah.
So we're in the green room of
Yeah.
this venue, which is a big conference room, but it's very dark, right? So
Yeah.
so it's a dark green room. We're behind the stage. There's curtains. We're all gathered around, all 15 of us or whatever, and we're all delirious because we'd woke up at freaking 6 to
Five
do
or whatever,
5,
yeah.
And so Clay's in there, and so we have these rappers that are going to do a couple songs with us, and they just got there from Brooklyn. These guys are legit. Like, what was Bobo?
Baba.
Baba?
And, I forgot the other
and-
guy's name.
And the other, anyways, they're great and legit hip hop artists.
Mm-hmm.
And they just get there and they're like going around the table meeting everyone. And so they get to like Ben, hey, nice to meet you. My name's Ben, blah, blah, blah. And it's going around. And it gets to Clay. They get to Clay. And Clay does his rap. He goes, hello, my name is Clay. I also rap. What do you say? And he's
Yeah.
just like an
Yeah.
insane person, just
And
smiling.
he did not laugh after anything. He just looked back down at his guitar. He also played guitar, I think, maybe
Yeah.
during the rap, which he's the only one holding a guitar. And everybody else was very shortly like, oh, what's up, man?
Yeah.
And very just normal meeting someone. And he, out of nowhere, does this insane, like, maniacal, weird,
Yeah.
like what you just heard, rap.
Yes, exactly.
And the guy, and Baba, who just shook his hand, kind of went,
Confused.
yeah, like he's paused and he was waiting for Clay to laugh or someone to say something, which no one did.
And
And
Clay
he just-
also, I mean, if you know Clay, then you know. If you don't know Clay, he has a mustache. He's wearing a hat.
Not only
Like,
that, he has a Three Musketeers mustache.
Yes, he's
It's
like he
curled.
looks like he's like an Americana looking artist, which he is.
Yeah.
And just imagine a mustached guy
Yeah.
giving
in
you
a
a rap.
sombrero rapping. Because he's like, dude,
Like
he's awesome.
Val Kilmer from like
Yeah,
Tombstone.
Right. Yeah. And then he finally did break out laughing, maybe when the guy was
But-
out of the room again.
But no, his laughter was like a crazy person.
Yeah, it was
like
dark
on
Dark
like a-
red and rolling. Yeah. Dude,
just like uncontrollable. Like
that was the best part.
when he freaking broke, I was like,
I wonder if he made himself uncomfortable, but he was so committed to the bit that he just
Yeah.
kept it.
the commitment
Oh my God.
was amazing. And so Stefano was the next person, and Stefano didn't know also what was happening because he doesn't know Clay that well. And he just looks at Baba, and he goes, "I'm so sorry for that."
Yeah. Which was perfect. And the guy's just like, he didn't even know whether to accept the apology because maybe that's part of the bit too.
He's like, "I think I need to leave now."
Yeah. He just walked away.
I've been texting Clay since then, just like, you got to send me some raps, dude,
Oh,
because
that's
he was
great.
rapping. He was rapping the whole time, and I was getting a good kick out of it.
Oh
It was
yeah.
great.
He would just walk to a restaurant and he's giving you the business the whole time. Dude, it's so good. So good.
Yes, thank you, Clay.
Yeah.
And I really had to bug him. He because he just sent me those this morning because I was like, come on, man, where's my raps? And he goes, oh, I thought you were gonna forget about that.
Never,
Nope,
not a
never gonna
chance.
forget. Yep.
Not a chance.
Thank
And
you,
I
Clay.
realized that, okay, also he does the at the end of every rap. And I figured out where that's from. It's from Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five.
Yeah.
It's got to put the freaking some time, but keep the brother humble, keep it going under. So, dude, nice callback.
Yeah.
And that's a true hip hop fan right there.
Yeah, he's the real deal. Okay, I've got a yarn from Jason Muscat.
Sweet.
He tried to text it. Okay, guys, you can definitely send us a message. Go to whatever you're listening this on, and just look at the description. It says send us a text. You can send us a text, but do not try to send pictures because I think it freaks out the system and it
But
won't
on
send
Spotify, it's not a link.
Is it
I
not?
noticed it's
Come
not.
on, Spotify.
Yeah, I know. It just says send us a text,
Okay,
but
so
it's not a link. So
on
I want to
Spotify.
let you know
It
on
is
Spotify.
okay. Lame. It is on there for Apple, for whatever Apple Podcasts, and so you can do it that way, or you can go to Buzzsprout if you want to send us a message. This comes from Jason Muscat, and I'm just doing it on my memory because I sort of remember it. His yarn is wearing sneakers with like a suit.
Mm-hmm.
So like, let's say you have like some like skate shoes, right?
Yeah,
Like skater shoes.
yeah, that's a good one.
With a blazer and some slacks.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
it goes with the thing that I hard gnar, which was tennis shoes with a cowboy hat, which I hard. That's so
hard
egregious. But you know what?
That's like Billy Ray Cyrus stuff.
What he's asking, actually, I hard yar. I think it's a great look. I mean, you have to have your shit right.
Yeah,
it's like it can look bad if you have like jogging shoes.
Okay.
Oh, you see it?
I see it. I'm just sorry. I'm doing the.
Oh, on Spotify.
I'm going to see if the link happens. The link does work on Spotify.
Oh, okay. On my desktop, I think it was.
Oh yeah.
Maybe not.
You're like trying to press your screen. You're like, what the fuck?
I did try to click it. No, but like this is going to be a deep cut that no one knows what the hell it is. But the first time I saw that look with the tennis shoes and the suit, okay, there's this artist from the 80s who never really made it too huge. Their name is Giorgio. It's kind of a Michael Jackson Prince-ish guy. Have you ever heard of him?
Nope.
Okay, yeah. It's pretty deep cut. It's kind of around the time of like Ready for the World and so forth, which they do Oh Sheila. And it's cool. Kind of like that where when people heard it, they thought it was Prince. Nice. So anyway, this guy Giorgio, he went on Soul Train. So he was big enough to at least have some hits on R&B hits, and he played on Soul Train. And but his look was so good. He was like a light-skinned black guy with really long. He looks kind of Native American. Mm-hmm. He had really long hair, but it's like kempt. I mean, he looked kind of feminine, but he had swag at the same time, which is a combo I love.
Yeah,
and he had a little bit of a, not shabby, but kind of like a designer suit that fit. It was kind of thrown on, like not a dress shirt under it. I think he had like no shirt, maybe even.
Yeah.
Or a wife beater, or whatever you call it, tank top.
And wife beater.
Whoops. Yeah.
What else?
Canceled. Yar.
I know exactly what you're talking about, though.
Yeah. And so, but he also had these like wrestling shoes.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So it just
almost, and they were almost in the Hammer Time zone.
Yeah,
because he kind of wore like wrestling shoes, right?
It was just before that, but the way the pants were kind of bunched at the bottom, like kind of crinkled and too long around it looked good.
Yeah.
And it was like, I don't care, but everything looked expensive too, which is another difference. If you have like a JCPenney's suit and like,
it's all too big.
Yeah, it has to be right.
It's got to fit right.
It looked done right. But that was like, I copied that look. I mean, in my own way. So I had like I used to have a 3-piece suit. Okay. But it was kind of like pinstripe brown. And then I had like shell toe.
Nice.
With that.
Yeah.
And just like lots of makeup, of course, and all that. Yeah. So that was kind of cool in my mind, but maybe confusing look that I had singing, you know, pop R&B, a white guy doing that and all that. So that was my identity, and not much has
Yeah.
changed,
Yeah.
frankly. But yeah, so that was my
Full yar.
long yar. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yar. How about you?
I'm a yar because in my yar in my head is like a Justin Timberlake.
Yeah,
Like I'm
yeah.
like
It
he's doing
develops
it.
into that. Yeah,
Obviously, I think with any style it can go south.
yeah.
But yeah, if you do it right and you've got the right vibe, then yes.
Well, imagine how uncool it would look for Justin Timberlake to wear dress shoes,
That would not look cool. Yeah, because then that's
right?
not
He's
cool.
like dancing. It's all clack, clack, clack,
It's
clack.
it's all like Men's Warehouse.
But you know who? So and then and I know, and then remember on the other side, if you think about James Brown, he had everything tight, and then he had those Beatle boots look. But he's before,
Yeah,
you know, so he had the
yeah.
James Brown
And
boots,
big shoulder
ankle boot.
pads.
Yes,
Yeah.
ankle boots. Everything's fitting tight, and that wouldn't look good with tennis shoes back
No.
then. And
No.
those shoes he had just made the splits and spins look that much better. So
Oh, dude.
yeah, it depends how you roll. But when I see old footage of James Brown run out toward the microphone at full speed for like the, you know, Dick Clark thing or whatever, and just hit some hard splits and throw the mic around. Dude, there's few things more electrifying
Yeah.
than James Brown, early James Brown.
Yeah. He's insane. Yeah. So good.
All right. Nice
Well, I
one.
think we're good. That was a nice long yeah, good recap, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything's dialed. We're all dialed.
All
in.
right. All right.
All right, people. Enjoy
We'll
your
see you soon.
week,
Wait, check
month.
it out.
And give you a call. Let's see.
I'm giving you the
Yes,
Hawaii
yes.
5-0.
Okay, Rose.
Yeah, how's it?
It's just your mouth. Hi. Yes. Welcome.
All right, guys.
Later.
See you, bro.